I looked up and there was flames everywhere.
There's not much left of the 112-year-old Orleans Pallet Company in Albion after a huge fire ripped through the warehouse. It started on the second floor. An employee and the owner were using a grinder to cut old piping when the equipment sparked and set off a fire. Luckily, they made it out alive.
And I witnessed the whole thing. The whole place was just engulfed in flames. You could smell a terrible smell, you know. It made my heart rush, you know. It was intense. You know, it's the craziest thing I've actually ever seen, you know, a building on fire.
At least 9 crews battled the flames and heavy clouds of smoke. They were uneasy about the fire spreading to the building next door, Empire Coating, that houses chemicals. Wanda Riley lives next door to Empire, where she also works. She was scared.
Do I have a job in the morning, you know? Because the fire at the building is so close to our building, you know. Maybe a spark might fall on that building.
Firefighters walked door to door, urging neighbors to stay inside and lock their windows and doors. They also closed off roads north of the village through the night.
The roof, the second and third floor and the roof were consumed by the fire. When those fell through the structure, it compromised the integrity of the walls.
No one was hurt. The roof of the building did collapse. The warehouse was destroyed.
Allahu Akbar.
On a day when the world pauses to remember the lives lost,
Up there, make yourself comfortable for me.
dozens in Rochester's Muslim community rolled up their sleeves to give the gift of life.
And it goes to show, as a Muslim, my blood works for people of all faiths, so it doesn't matter what your faith is, this blood works for everyone.
Mubarak Bashir is an American Muslim. He says he reflects on this tragic day in history for 2 reasons.
As an American, it was a tragedy that every day that this every 9/11 is going to be a tragic thing for all of Americans, and for Muslims, that someone hijacked our faith and flew those planes into the towers, and it doesn't represent our faith at all.
Paul Mangione does not practice the same religion, but shares some of the same values.
So many people are prejudiced of whatever religion they are. I'm Catholic. My friend, he's Muslim. We're both the same. We have love for people, love for our country, love for life.
Allahu Akbar.
As Bashir and others of his faith prayed tonight, the hope is lives will be saved because of their donations.
I mean, in the Quran, it says if you take one life, it's like you take all of mankind. After that, it says if you save one life, it's like you saved all of mankind. So that's why we're here today. We're looking to save lives rather than take lives.
On any given day, if you don't stop at a red light, you could find a ticket in your mailbox days later.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I got a ticket and I'm not gonna pay the ticket because I just think that it's ridiculous. I mean, I have to count to turn right on red. It's not like I'm eating the light. I got a ticket for turning before. It was like a 15-second rule that I didn't even know about as a driver. Who's gonna remember that stuff?
Beatrice LeBron says she supports Rochester lawyer Larry Krieger, who is challenging the constitutionality of the cameras. Krieger says it violates the right to due process.
Everybody's right to have an opportunity to be heard and a fair chance in court. This law doesn't provide that. It finds that the video is irrebuttable proof, and it issues a ticket to a registered owner, whether they're the driver or not, and that's it, you're guilty.
At $50 a pop, the city of Rochester makes money off the red light cameras. The city argues the cameras keep motorists safe.
We do believe this to be constitutional. We don't believe that it violates anybody's rights, and we believe that it serves an important purpose in protecting public safety in the city.
Red light cameras began being installed in Rochester in 2010. More are on the horizon.
I'm not that cynical to think that the city is doing it just for the money. I think that's kind of a bonus if they make some money from it, but you know, I think the main thing is to stop these people who really do blow right through red lights.
With Rochester's sunrise, eager runners took to the Flower City Challenge start line. It began with a moment for Boston. It's a moment that has shaken Mark Clementi, 2 weeks ago, just 100 yards from the Boston finish line, a second bomb exploded.
It was surreal, I just, I got hit with some shrapnel, and I just, really couldn't comprehend what was going on, being that far into the race. But, I went from trying to finish the marathon to survival mode pretty fast.
Russ Herman was there too, blocks away. Today, he's cheering from the sidelines.
We just want to, give our best wishes to the families and know that they're going to live with us for a lifetime. And we want them to know we'll always be there for them.
And Denise Gretadoro's every step was for Boston.
I think all of our hearts go out to the people there and what happened, the innocent bystanders. I do have Jeff Bauman's name written on my leg. I have legs that work. Even if my legs get tired, I'm going to think of those that lost their legs.
It's all about communication following Boston. And here there is a command post for the first time to coordinate EMS, fire, and the police department.
It's at 5K approaching finish.
911 dispatchers manned the phones. Emergency responders were highly visible.
This is something that you do. It lays out the organizational, and everybody's jobs are in here and where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to do.
And the response plan heightened. The city's hazmat team also placed wireless gas monitoring devices throughout the course.
This is technology we've had for probably about 10 years. We're just starting to implement it in these types of events now.
Every incident is a learning experience for the emergency response community.
This time, as Clemente approached the finish line, all he heard were the cheers. In Rochester, Caroline Tucker, News 8.
You're gonna choose whatever stroke you want. If you're a backstroker, do backstroke. I push them and nothing about it is easy. 3 breaths.
Wilson High coach Ashley Pierce started the season with 2 swimmers. Now she has 9.
200 fast, no breath, in and out of your flip turns.
She's tough, but she loves it.
Some were already competitive swimmers. Others could barely swim.
There were some girls who couldn't get halfway down the pool when we first started.
Really reach that arm out, pull it around, and then pull that water, okay?
Like Shai Duh.
At that time, I can't really swim across the pool. I probably sink, and I was afraid to go down the deep end.
Now Shai swims 200 yards at a time. She finishes every race.
I always the last person.
It takes a strong person to be like, I don't care, I'm gonna just do better.
There are only 2 girls swim teams in the Rochester City School District.
Swimming in the city is not as accessible as in the suburbs.
Most females wanna play volleyball or cheerlead, and most guys wanna play football or basketball.
It's a life skill, I personally believe, and it's such a great sport and such a great way to be healthy.
The girls go up against suburban teams with a lot more swimmers, really fast swimmers.
Sometimes it's a little intimidating, but we just try to stay focused on having fun and beating ourselves.
Mission accomplished.
The greatest compliment I can ask for is when a coach sees them swim at the beginning of the season, and then we swam against the same team this past Tuesday, and he said, you look like a completely different team.
Most improved is going to be impossible to give because everyone is just improved like by miles.
And while swimming may be an individual sport, the Wilson High girls are in it together.
Okay, the first time Shai did that, Shai, it took you about 8 minutes last time. Today, it took you 5 minutes and 6 seconds. Nice job. I just want these girls to shine. They're fantastic.
Rachel Barnhart, News 8.
This was a new wonder, a new marvel. And the city created this wonderful building to house it.
Sally Wood Winslow has been rolling out the welcome mat at High Falls for 20 years. She worked with about a dozen people over the years. Now she is the only one who remains.
The district has perhaps mellowed a bit, but it's always been a strong district. This is the center of our city's history. People come to that waterfall primarily, and they have for every era of the neighborhood's progress.
Come June 30th, this gift shop, art gallery, museum of Rochester's rich history will close. The city informed the center because of budgetary restraints, its contract would not be renewed.
I'm shocked, actually, because it's such an important part of this whole area. And they get, a lot of visitors that come in, and history-wise for the children, I think it's a great asset.
The news is disheartening to other companies who do business here.
It's a sad bit of news. It's disappointing. It's such a great visitor destination and provides such a source for information and news about what's going on in this High Falls area that it is a disappointment.
The closure comes at a time when the Genesee Brewery is reinventing itself, and businesses and residences are finding their niche here. Amy Young, Fox First at 10.
We want to make sure that they get everything that they need as quickly as possible.
Practice makes perfect, and the Red Cross agrees.
That's what we always train for, is what could happen, with the thought in mind we never want it to happen. But if it should, we're good to go.
Today, the local Red Cross chapter held a hurricane scenario disaster drill.
Checking out the map where we're going and what streets are closed.
Nearly 100 volunteers ready and willing to respond.
Hurricane Rock has hit the area and caused some flooding and some damage across the area.
While the Red Cross doesn't expect hurricanes to impact Rochester, there is always the possibility. It's been almost 8 months since Superstorm Sandy hit the New York region. The perfect example that the unexpected can happen.
We're learning here because it could happen here. Remember, the original storm track for Sandy brought it right up 390 right into Rochester. It was only by a weather change that it didn't happen here.
So how does the Red Cross prepare? Today's drill showed it takes an army to respond to any disaster.
You see all the disciplines in the background, and you see feeding, sheltering, government operations, disaster assessment, logistics, transportation. They're all represented here as part of the response the Red Cross would normally send to a disaster area.
So we can go straight down east.
Outside the headquarters, several teams dispatched to different parts of Rochester, assessing the damage that Hurricane Rock caused.
We are simulating that there's a hurricane in this area, and we're just going door to door and simulating, assessing each building for damage.
Help us get our supplies such as food, water, other relief supplies into the areas that are hardest hit, to know where those are, and then to start to kind of coordinate the response afterwards.
A response that may have been practiced today, but could be the real deal tomorrow.
These volunteers are now prepared to go anywhere in the state or anywhere in the country and do the exact same thing with more training, more preparedness, and more confidence.
In Rochester, Ashley Zoka, News 8.
It's called a squirrel slam, sir.
Then those people have a right to say what to do in their community.
The typically sleepy village of Holly is anything but these days.
Shame on Holly, New York!
We love Holly! We love Holly!
At the center of all the noise,
Holly's fantastic!
Squirrels. For the 7th year in a row, the Holly Fire Department held its Squirrel Slam fundraiser.
Yes, I'm all for it. It's a way of life out here, you know. That's the way we live.
Hunters as young as 12 years old can enter up to 5 squirrels for weighing. The biggest wins a prize.
It's wrong. I'm against the gun laws. They shouldn't have a gun until they're at least 21 or so, when they're well in their mind of what they should do and what they shouldn't do. I think they're wrong.
Holly fire officials would not say how much they even raised from the Squirrel Slam and whether or not they'll consider a different fundraiser next year.
Everybody has the freedom of speech and have their own opinions. I mean, that's what our governments and countries founded on.
You didn't have to be in Holly to hear of the Squirrel Slam or the controversy surrounding it. Online petitions and opinions circulated quickly. Despite the protests, the hunt went on, and so does the debate.
The time for change has come.
In Orleans County,
And I'm 1 county away, so now
Amy Young, News 8.
Paula McGibbon is a longtime employee at the Butler Correctional Facility in Wayne County. Her 2 daughters also work there. Now she's left wondering, what are we going to do?
I only have 4 years to work yet, and I thought I could do it 2 miles from my home.
now I don't know where I'm going to be.
Paula's not alone. A room full of corrections officers, state senators, and Wayne County neighbors are fighting to keep the corrections facility right where it is.
You walk the toughest law enforcement beat in America. Don't let anyone forget that.
Last summer, the New York Department of Corrections announced plans to close the Wayne County facility along with 3 other state prisons. The move would save taxpayers $30 million a year. Governor Cuomo's office says there's no need for the Butler Correctional Facility because the crime rates have dropped.
All you have to do is live around here and read the paper, and you see the amount of problems we're having with drugs and breaking and entering.
Crime is definitely not down. It's every day you're hearing something different.
Martin Rose is a corrections officer, and he doesn't want to move.
It's the uprooting of the family, which is a big, devastating to a lot of us, that we have to relocate with so many years on the job.
There are 106 employees at the correctional facility with 177 inmates. Cuomo's office says they want to prevent layoffs by transitioning employees to other facilities. Still, some worry that they won't find another job close to home.